Good morning, everyone. I hope my voice is clear and that the chart is clear. Let me know in the comments. So then I will start, of course, with Bitcoin, but I will look at Ethereum, some other cryptocurrencies. It's a holiday today, so we have to trade with caution. I think I just need to change a setting here. All right. Let's start the live stream here. So, firstly, the way I look at a chart is to find our support and resistance levels. And I will start with Bitcoin here. And it's basically a well-known technique. This is called a monthly support and resistance level. This was a former monthly support and resistance level where we bounced. You can add this one on the chart as well. But for now, I would like the ones that aren't actually tapped. In here, you saw that this was a former one, and that's where we actually reversed a little. But as you can see, we have one over here as well. So that is the monthly SR. You don't want too many levels on the chart. And we can see in here, this is a weekly SR. And then I go closer and look for our resistance on a lower time frame, which would be here. So that is our weekly. And we are also having a weekly support. So it's in between both of these levels right now. It's getting really tight. So there is something brewing here. And then to the downside, we can add this one as well. But for now, if it comes down, I don't really need that one. We'll see if it comes down. So then the main chart that you should look at is the daily chart. And then I ask myself, where is it headed? So then I look at swing highs, swing lows, equal highs, equal lows. So here, for example, that was a former swing high. We tapped into that level and it created an equal high. If you have something like this, just know that it is most likely going to breach that level. So once we tapped into that and we came back inside here, I knew that there was a huge potential to go and breach that level. So that was a former liquidity level. So right now, the market is drawn towards this level, but also I do not see those levels as potential reversal levels. It's only, it could be, but it could be tapped and then a little correction. But the reversal, I am looking at this double top in here. So this is another liquidity level. So in my opinion, the market is drawn towards this region on the daily chart. So the daily chart is where I would like to look where the market is potentially going and what the magnet is. So on the upside, that would be here, and also this level as a potential target for a reversal. But then if we tap it, I would still like to see if we can grab or move in towards that level. Next, I'm just going to explain you how I look for setups and how I trade the setup. And it's basically an easy concept. It's also, I'm not sure if it's known, but let me just explain. If you have something like this. Then it goes down like this. Then what I can see, if you have this chart, is this liquidity level. So if we reverse, then I'm going to look at this level as a magnet. But before I enter blindly on a knife falling, I look for my setup, which is basically, let me grab this one. This is the key lower high leading towards the low. So then I wait, or even on a lower time frame. Let's say this is quite a low time frame. Then I wait for it to break this high first. And what I'm looking for is some aggressiveness, some aggressive candles in here going for that high. And what happens then is most of the time it creates a fair value gap or a gap in price. I will explain the fair value gap in a moment in here. And then I look for it to trade back into this gap and hold as support. And this is where I want my entry for higher with a stop loss below the low. And this is how I treat all the trades. This is how I treat all the trades in here. I took around 9 trades all in here, 9 winners, based off of this strategy or setup. It is important that you look for this in a level or at a level of support or in a liquidity region. So let me explain the fair value gap first. Need to close that one. And the fair value gap is basically, as you can see here on the daily chart, we see lots of green candles breaking this key lower high. This is the key lower high. You could say that this one is one as well. So even here, let's just say we start over here. This is our key lower high. We break it. What happens next? Let me zoom in here. After we break that high, you look for fair value gaps. So fair value gap is once you see a huge green candle like this, like an aggressive up candle. It can also be down candle, so be sure. But after we break key lower high, we look for aggressive up candles. And then the fair value gap is you look at the candle here, you look at the candle to the right. This wick you call the FVG. The wick to the left you call the FVG. This is the first gap. Are there any more gaps on the daily chart? Yes, this one and this one. So here, fair value gap. So now you have 2 potential longs after we break this key lower high, which is basically this zone over here. That would be your first entry. And then the next zone over here, because we have 2 gaps. So if you only have 1 gap, then this is definitely your entry and you would like it to hold for higher. If you don't have any gaps anymore, you don't want it to break like that. But we knew that there is 1 more gap in here. And then look what happened. This is the region where it held as support and we saw that move to the upside. But there is something really important about this, and it was below a liquidity level. So a liquidity level is a former low, swing low, but can actually be seen as equal lows. So if you take all these lows in here, I would say this is the equal lows. So the market here is still drawn towards that level. But once you get below that level and it started to act like consolidation, you don't blindly long in here because we might still go down, but you wait for the setup, which is break of key lower high into fair value gaps and then you long. with a stop loss over here for a swing trade. So this is a daily chart. This is, or would be, a swing trade, but I look for this on the lower time frame as well, and it has been for Bitcoin very, very profitable. I do want to say this is very profitable for, or on any chart, but Bitcoin especially, there is large volume behind it, and if you trade altcoins, for example, it will be it will have more impact. Bitcoin will have more impact on altcoins. So Bitcoin is a king, and trading Bitcoin is the safest option, and as well for the stock market. But let's just dive a little bit deeper in here and in here, because we can see the same setup. We break another time this key lower high. Okay, and then we see lots of gaps in here and huge candles to the upside. Then you look, where is the first gap that is still open? So you have this level here. This is of course a very aggressive move. So here, this fair value gap, and as well we had this one, and you can actually trade that one too. So we had this first gap, and once we traded back inside this gap, we moved higher. So even a bit back in the time on this uptrend, if we break that one on the daily chart, this is the first fair value gap. And if it's very bullish, then you can look for the same setup that I'm showing right here on a lower time frame to look for higher. Eventually we went higher, and look where we bounced. We bounced back into the second fair value gap. Of course, we don't blindly long this on a daily chart. We look for the same setup in here, and that's what I did back in Discord. I look for the same setup, and we've actually longed this. So let me just zoom in, and then I will go over what could happen right now. I'm just wanting to explain how I find these setups. So then I go on a, let's say it was even on a 3-minute chart, so I will have to go way back. But just to show you that it is a very, not sure if I can go back on the 3-minute. Let's see if I can, yeah, there we go. So basically in here, can I go further? No. Let me just change this on a 1 hourly and show you why. So this, for example, was a swing low. So it has to be below a liquidity region or at support. And here we had equal lows. So we tap below a liquidity region, even below the equal lows here, and then you look for that setup into liquidity. So back on the 5-minute chart right now. Can I go all the way back? Yeah, there we go. What can we see here? It's now on a 5-minute chart. I was trading it on a lower time frame, but you are below a liquidity region, and we're going straight into this fair value gap. So then I look firstly on my left and see where is the key lower high that's leading towards the low, and you can clearly see that this high was the most important one leading towards the low. So this is my key lower high. Okay, so then the market traded to the upside. There we go, breaking this key lower high. Now, even on a lower time frame, you look for those gaps. So what we can see here, this is the first gap, fair value gap. Yeah, and this one, of course. Here you have one a bit higher over here. You see it trades in and it tried to break already. But if you have lower ones, you would like it to fall a bit lower because this wouldn't be a substantial correction for it. It's most likely if you have one lower, it will trade lower and then move higher. Are there any more gaps? There was one over here. And look where it bounced. just to show you, even on an other time frame, if you would see this as your key lower high here on a small time frame, it breaks that level, moves higher, moves higher, moves higher, leaving a fair value gap open. We trade back into the gap and we move higher. But that was done a little bit former. But if you want to trade on a higher time frame, you look for this. And then here, what does it do? It goes a little bit below, taking liquidity, because this all, if you can see the lows here, this all, you have 1, 2, 3 equal lows. So that's the liquidity region. We tap into that liquidity region and also into this fair value gap, and it trades back in. So I wouldn't blindly long this, but once you see that it took those liquidity regions, which we did, and it moves higher, gets that reaction, stays as support, you long. And here, what you could do then, and what we did, is place your stop loss below. This is the safest option, below the recent low. Of course, you can place it here as well, but it's a bit more risky. But actually, there aren't any more open fair value gaps. So if you want to trade a little bit more aggressively, you can place a stop right there, and then it was just waiting, and it just blasted through all the levels on a lower time frame. So rewatch this section if you want to know again how I find these setups. So right now, going over the recent Bitcoin trades that I did, and there were 8 or 9 trades in here, all the way down here. I'm not sure if I can show it. Executions. Yeah, so I can show it. See? Even on a lower time frame. I have to go on a 1 minute chart to show you all the trades here. On 2 minute chart, let me just okay, this one for example. What happened over here is we breached this key lower high. So now it's the opposite. We break that, and in here it creates that fair value gap. So it's now the opposite. So it's now the bearish side. And look where I entered that trade. Enter that trade right into the gap after breaking key lower high, or higher low would it be here? Key higher low. And then sold off and took my profit very quickly, always on the first momentum candles, taking half, even more, and then place your stop loss and profit. And I've done this 9 times for this, well, consolidation, which was very nice. But let's go to the now, which is what you all want to see. So if you are just jumped into this live stream, go a little bit before, where I explained how I look for those setups. Okay, so right now, it's really tight. And we are in between basically 2 weekly SR levels. So this one and this one. With the thought that there is a magnet higher. And to me, it's that level. This is where the reversal is, and of course that one too. Is it possible that we move down first? Of course, but you have to react rather than saying, okay, I'm very sure that we are going towards that level or that level. No, we don't know if that will be hit first. It could move down and then like this. So we don't know that. Nobody knows that. And definitely here, many people got chopped up, and I just scalped it on the setups that I've explained right now. So on the daily chart, what I want to add, I have the daily SR right here. I want to look at the fair value gaps up in here. This is a CME gap, so I still know that we have this one open. After breaking this high, what happened? You can do the same thing on a, it doesn't have to be a reversal. You can do the same thing, same setup for continuation. So let me just explain here. This would be your key high or swing high with equal highs. So you know that the market is attracted towards equal highs and equal lows. What happened? You see huge green candles breaking this level. Then you look, after breaking this level with aggressiveness, you look for fair value gap. And look what it did on a daily time frame, which is most important. The next day, we traded into this level, small one, and then you go on a lower time frame and look for the same setup, and we blasted higher. So you can do this for patterns that continue or for reversals as well. So basic price action right now, I have my weekly, I have my both weekly. You can look for the daily support levels. This wasn't daily support level, which is already tapped once, twice, and a third time. And now the thing is, the more support gets tapped, the weaker it gets. So I have one more here. If we do break down, then this is the target on the downside because I still want it higher. This would be the one that I'm looking at. Just on a daily chart. I'm just always starting weekly, monthly, daily, and I just keep looking at the daily chart here where the price might attract to. So we have a liquidity level over here. And we are seeing a liquidity level over here. So it's basically ranging very tight. And for now, you are not sure, will it take that one first or will it take that one first? So you got to think on a higher time frame. I want this and I want this. So I think the magnet is here. So I do think that we should look for bounces higher. So this is my mindset right now because of the daily chart. Then I go on a 4-hourly chart. Because it's really tight, you can't really trade off the daily chart. We are in a range, so then you can use the fixed range volume profile. And basically, first thing that I see is a high volume node here. This is the point of control. Add that one to your chart as well. Next thing that I do, of course, is the daily open, the previous week high, previous week high, previous week low. I normally place those on the chart as well. And the reason why, because these are liquidity levels as well. Let me just show you. Previous week high here and previous week low. That was a former week here, previous week low. What you mostly see is, because this is the high of a previous week, there is liquidity here. So what you mostly see, or what you want to see, is that it goes beyond that level and then look for a reversal down. Here, it also took that previous week low and then look for a reversal to the upside. You have to know your bias though. If you are bullish still, you look for this to happen. So I always place that one on the chart as well. Currently, we are far away from both of these levels. So I will not place that on the chart. We are inside previous week. On the daily, you can add the daily open, which is basically the high volume node. So for me, I want to make this chart clean. I don't add the daily open here because I know this is the high volume node. But what I will add, the previous week low, previous month low, previous week high, previous month high, also works with previous day low, previous day high. So if bullish, I would actually want this, which I would see as equal lows. So let me just add both of these on the chart. So for it to grab liquidity for higher, it has to grab liquidity somewhere. And I had my first plan today is a move below here to then go higher. Of course, I use something else to find support as well. I hope it doesn't get too complicated right now, but I use the session volume profile. This shows the volume of a previous day and the given day that we are trading in. And I'm looking for point of controls of a previous day that wasn't been tapped before. So here we have this one that's still open. That is my volume point of control. And basically, if you double click here, extend point pocket to your right, it will extend that level and you can clearly see where those levels are. Here we have 1, 2. Okay. Now clean chart again. And let me just check the daily. We have all the levels right now. It's getting a bit messy. I do still want this daily on the chart. So this is the daily SR level. I do not really want this one for now. And this is an open weekly, but it's also an open daily. I will call this the daily. We have not tapped it yet. So it's really, really tight for trades right now. But you can see yesterday I've longed this one. And because we tapped into that level and then I went on a lower time frame, let me just show you. And I looked for the same setup that I've explained yesterday. I think it was on a 1 minute chart even. Let me see where it was. Executions. Right, I need to go on the chart that I've actually traded. Because I'm on the USD chart and I want to start with a clean chart, but I have to look on the BTC USD chart where I've made all my trades. Just one moment. So we bounced from that daily level. I have trading over here. And it was this one with all the executions. Let's see if that's correct. Executions. Yeah, these were all the trades that I took. So here, shorting this one towards here, shorting here towards here, shorting here towards here, shorting here towards here, longing here towards here, longing here towards here, then shorting for a little move, shorting here towards that level, and yesterday, here we are yesterday. So let me just add this daily level quickly. I hope it doesn't, I hope it makes sense. Just want to show you the trade that we took yesterday, 2 minute chart. And let me show you the executions here. Yeah, okay. So what happened here? I knew we were bouncing from that daily level. And I've took this as my key lower high. We broke that key lower high, so I know we are at a support level. We broke that key lower high, and then I look for those gaps. And what I see here is fair value gap, fair value gap. Do we have a fair value gap anywhere else? We have one over here, and we have one over here. But this seemed to me the aggressive move and the biggest gap. So what I did was actually long in here. What happened next? We did break a little bit lower below this low, below this low, which is liquidity zone. And then it tapped and it held this fair value gap here. My stop loss was here, like I've explained earlier. Here, I wanted to have the stop loss. Can you still see my chart? Yeah. So this was the stop loss that I had, and I've longed here into the fair value gap all the way up to here, which I always do. The first momentum candles, I take profit and then my stop loss in profit over here. So that was a trade yesterday. Now back towards Bitcoin. And what could happen right now. Just wanted to explain how I treated that trade. The way I would look at this right now, because many people will have their own visions and say that you can't trade this, but I showed you how to. But now I'm staying a little bit more cautious because it is getting really tight and it is a holiday as well. I would like this low to be grabbed and then a move higher. So this is a plan that I have. I will look for the setup here. You can use a FIPS as well. We bounce from this golden pocket. We bounce from this, or we are currently bouncing from this golden pocket, but it's not really giving me too much. So I have now my support here. And I would like, if possible, that it trades back into this level. And then I look for the setup here. So break higher, comes back, that one. But I'm prepared for any possibility, which could be taking equal lows here and then looking for the setup for higher. Or even now, as we are bouncing from this daily level still, we could see the same setup moving higher, but then we still have an open daily level over here. So we need to break that daily, bounce from a high volume node, and then straight into this volume point of control. That would be the target. And there is something that I've noticed right now, is that we still have a lower time frame fair value gap open. So that would be very nice. And I would like to see if it can trade back into this gap right here. Because look here, we had a gap as well. We traded into it, moved down, and we actually traded more into that level. We had a gap right here. We traded more and we traded back into that level. So definitely in the range, you can see this happening a lot, that it fills before we move down. So I have this region as my resistance and potential target. I have this as support and potential target to the downside or reversal towards that level. And I of course still have this level and obviously higher. So now I'll just dive into a lower time frame chart, and then I'll go on to a Ethereum chart. And Of course, I said earlier, I would like previous day low to be grabbed. But right now, on a 5-minute chart, we do see this key lower high that breaks. But today I'm not too confident in trading. But this would be the gap that it left behind. So we're now trading into it. It has potential to move higher towards that daily. I am now thinking to myself, do I want to enter this trade? And if I do, then I know that I need to be very cautious. The volume is probably way down today. Yes, stock market is closed as well, but I do see somewhat the same setup again from support. But the more support gets tapped, the weaker it gets. But we are in a range with the magnet higher, so I kind of want to enter this trade, but I do know that it comes with higher risk than previous trades. You don't want to wait too long as well. If you see a setup, you trade it, and if your stop loss hits, that is the way it goes, of course. So let me just see if I would like to enter this trade, because it does give me that setup. What would be the RR here? So this would be the stop loss, of course, and this would be the first target. And that is not really the best trade. This would be the second target, which is fine. And of course, this would be the third target, which is definitely nice. But it didn't take liquidity. So I could enter this trade, but I know that the confidence and that the risk is higher today. But yeah, let's just try this one out to show you. Because you do have to take all these setups. You don't have to fear. If you fear too much, thinking, oh, it's at close support resistance, well, you may lose, or you may not be in many trades. So let me just use one here. So I got this trade up and running right now. It is, like I said, not the highest probability, but it is one. In this case, that could be traded. But like I said, I'm low risk right now, and I do feel that the probability of this one not working out is way higher than previous ones. Just going to share this in Discord. Go. Settings and the position here. So we'll see how this one runs. Like I said, it is very tight trading in here. There's not many people that get chopped up. Most of them do. And I know that we tapped this daily already for a couple of times. So The more it taps it, the weaker it gets. And we didn't take liquidity, so I know this is a lower probability trade. It's not ideal, but it is giving me the setup, and just want to show you that if you have a setup, just trade it, and you don't know if it will work out eventually. And that's why you place a stop loss. That is why you pay a cost to see if your setup will work or not. I have right now 9 win trades on Bitcoin in a row since 17 March. This might be the one that doesn't work out because of the holiday. So you have to think it's holiday. We are really tight. Nobody knows where it's going. So you have to trade with caution right now. And now let's go over to Ethereum. I've been explaining Bitcoin for a while now. So I just go and look at the same things right here. So on a monthly time frame, I instantly see this high. This is the liquidity level. This is the magnet. I would like it to tap that level to distribute in here for lower again if there is going to be a reversal of any kind. Anything else I can see here? Not really. Go on a weekly. Well, basically, sorry, the first thing I see is this weekly SR. Anything else? We have an open gap in here. We have an open gap in here. Okay, we are in a range, so you take the volume profile. And there you can see the high volume node. And you just add that one to your chart. Very simple and easy to see. Then weekly support. This was weekly resistance. We have weekly support, and we tapped into that level already, so I don't really need that one. The way I'm looking at this right now, is it potentially going to reverse here? Yes, we are at a weekly resistance level, but the magnet would be this level right there. Then I go on a daily chart. And see what I can get out of this one. You can use Elliott waves. 1, 2. Let me just find the wave count in here real quick. So you can use log scale if you want. See, that comes around at 1618, now 2618. See if that could be ABC. This would be potentially the 5th one. We've now tapped to 786. So I think most people would see this as 1, 2, then 3, 4, 5. I could see this as well, but I think I would go for no, I would go for this actually. Right there, and this could be A, B, and then maybe C lower. But yeah, for Elliott wave, right now many have different views, and Elliott wave can be useful if it's clean, if it's really showing you the waves like in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's easy to trade. Right now, it's too difficult to actually make a decision whether it's 1, 2, where is 3, where is 4, where is 5. It is subjective. Anyone trading Elliott wave, you can use it, but you can not trade it right here. So I'm just thinking about the magnet. I'm just thinking out loud. This is the first time that I'm looking at Ethereum. All right, just to dive a little bit deeper in here. We broke this high as well, came back into the fair value gap, moved higher. So same thing right now. We broke this high. That is the break. And we are trading into this gap, which I would like to hold if it wants to trade higher. Can this become a swing top? Then we're going to need something like this, then a move down. So this is potentially what we are looking at as well. This is going to be the daily. And we have an open daily in here as well. If it reverses here, where could price be going? That high volume node. So I switch between all the time frames here to look. Yeah, this is a weekly level. This is a high volume node. Currently we are above a weekly liquidity region, which were equal highs. So it went for those equal highs into a liquidity region, into a weekly. So right now we could still be looking for lower up towards here, then take that one, but we are very close towards it. So I'm going on 4 hourly. You have to think out loud sometimes, maybe record yourself, and that will definitely help you figure out where we are on the chart. So basically on the 4 hourly, we are trading into this fair value gap here, which I would like to see if it can hold. And yeah, eventually this 4 hourly down close candle could be acting as support. So what else can you use? You can use the fixed range over here. Okay, and that's interesting. We have this daily level with a high volume node. And I go on a 1 hourly. Yeah, let me just add the daily open. So we have daily open here and previous day low into a daily fair value gap, which basically is bouncing from that gap right now, as you can see. So we took previous day low. This is interesting. If you want to be bullish for higher, we took liquidity from this swing low and previous day low. So I go on a 5-minute chart. Can I see my setup? It's not giving me much right now. But yeah, what you want to see if it breaks like a key lower high, like this one. It's giving me a little bit the same setup, of course, as Bitcoin. But yeah, you want to see more aggressive candles to the upside here. So if you had this one, like huge aggressive candles, then move back in. But as price is really slow today, you might not see that one. But here you have basically this gap in here, which is now, so this gap after breaking key lower high. This is holding, so you want actually now to see if it can go higher. So that would be a potential trade as well. I will just keep the Bitcoin trade for now because I'm not too confident in today. But yeah, I do know that liquidity is low and that the move can happen today because of the lower liquidity. Yeah, so here it is a setup, but it's not really giving you too much, but this could eventually happen. Took liquidity from previous day low. We don't know. And and you rather want to take it like up there if you want to trade this, but the confidence is eventually low in the reversal to the upside. So let's keep an eye on this green box here. Let's go over to an altcoin. First thing, look on the daily chart. So I'm in a little long, but I can look for shorts as well, of course. If I'm wrong on the long, because I'm not entirely sure, we can look for some altcoins to short. But I firstly want to look at the BTC pairs here. So for example, ICX BTC. And we start on the weekly time frame. What can we see? Is there more data on? Let's see this one. Yeah. I don't like to trade altcoins. They are too influenced by Bitcoin. So you want to look at the BTC pair first. Yeah, the first thing that I notice is that we took the liquidity here, as you can see. So it took the liquidity on the downside. This was the former swing low. Takes liquidity, travels a bit below it, and then a huge move to the upside. With right now in this range, taking liquidity and reversing a little. With here an open weekly. Yeah, and as you can see, this was resistance, 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 support, support, breakthrough, acting as support right now. So would it go beyond that level to travel in here and redistribute to then go down, possibly? We have actually the daily SR here. And the daily open at liquidity region. Yeah. We took that high. This would be my key higher low. We breached it. And we have lots of open gaps in here. And that was the last one. So basically, we are shifting a little from bullish to bearish. We went straight into the EQ, into the open gap. Tapping that daily might act as resistance right now. Then the 5-minute doesn't really give me that much, but I am not entirely bullish here. I think this is a bearish retest, of course. Anyway, you can see it differently too. that this was your key lower high. And then we can see this gap in here. Around here. So maybe I move back in here. Sort of like this. Or even A, B, and then C all the way down. Could be possible. Let me go back towards the normal pair here. It's up 8%. Taps as daily level 2. And also here on the time frame here, we took the liquidity already. That is something that we do have to notice, that we took the stop losses that were placed over there. Elite wave. It's 1, 2, 3. A, B, C. Could be anything. Yeah, but on a daily, I can see that we are trading into this fair value gap as well. So let's go on the 1 hourly. The thing that I notice straight away is this break here of the key lower high on the 1 hourly, and we still have some gaps open. And this one, for example. Taking the EQ, so maybe we can get towards that level first. We have this box on the 4 hourly, which we already traded in. And then we have this open gap in here. It is not giving me a trade, of course. I'm just doing the analysis here. But maybe if we can get over this 0.5 FIP, I would be interested. What else do we have? NG. Start on the daily chart. Just watching Bitcoin. I do not expect much to happen today. But if it does, I would like to be in the trade. We'll see. Right, so that's a huge move here. You don't kind of want to trade up in this. And here. can I see? Just going back on the Bitcoin BTC pairs first. Let me check ones that are up today. What about sand? On the daily here, where is it? Where's the magnet here? And yeah, it took that liquidity. So that's the first thing that I see. Any gaps in here? See this gap in here. Anything else? Kind of messy. Let me check the chart here. Send. There we go. Okay. So you can see this gap here, which we're now trading in. And then we have a smaller one here on the weekly time frame. That's on the weekly time frame. Very compact. Can this break this high? That is the question. Did we take liquidity on a daily level? We did not break this level yet. So if this is going to reverse to the upside, we should have breached that level as key lower high. What it actually did is it broke that level and it opened this gap here. And the way I see it, it acted as resistance. Okay, so this is your break. This was your break. And up here, you could have traded it back towards that level. This has now been tested and acted as a resistance. What you can see here is a swing top. You have a left shoulder, a top, a right shoulder. Can we lose this level again? Definitely. Can it turn out as support? Yes. So we don't have much information right now about this coin. We do see this fair value gap in here. After breaking this key, lower high, both that one. The first time that we tapped into this zone, we bounced. So that is something that we can notice, but also here we have a little one. Okay. Right now we have a smaller one over here. And we have this one over here, which should hold as support, but there is nothing really that I would say can be traded for sand. Then we can use the fixed range we are below the high volume node. Traded back into this gap, held as resistance. So as you can see, this is, if it was here, we could look for the reversal. And right here, it's not really giving me much to trade with, to be honest. No, this is a no trade zone. It's just in between levels. Maybe if it can go back towards that level, or in here, we can look for a long scalp. We're below a high volume node. Yeah, sometimes you just don't see any trades and you just move on and look for other probable setups. I will look at XRP. So here on the daily as well, we took the liquidity. So that is important, that we already took liquidity on the weekly level as well. Open gap in here, we went below the liquidity zone here. So you're in a range. Take the volume profile. High volume node back there. If this wants to continue higher, after we took already that liquidity level, you want it to hold this zone here at first. To then maybe distribute back higher. But any chart at the moment is almost untradable. I will place an alert right here that might cause a long scalp. I will dive in a little bit closer. Here we broke higher, little gap, and look where it bounced. Wick bounce. Here, little gap, bounce. But yeah, right now, also in no trade zone, of course, you can see it's not really giving me that much. You did see this break right here. I had this zone traded in, bounce. Not sure to be bullish right now. This is still the box that needs to hold if it wants to turn out to go higher. Let's check USDT here. That would be on the trading pair. And here as well, I started on a weekly, but I need trading. USDT. Yeah, bouncing from that weekly level, so it is getting tight as well. What can we see here? Equal highs. Eventually, I'm looking for it to take those, so be careful with the longs though, but we are close towards those as well. So I would rather see this happen and then move like this. Eventually something like this below that level as well, but it's too early to say. Now we are just bouncing from that weekly support and resistance level back into weekly SR as well, which will be tapped very soon. So we'll see how it reacts in there. Anyway, what can I see here? This would be my key lower high. And we are actually staying in between this gap here. So that means that we can still move higher for a short and see whether it can trade into this gap here. And then I would target this zone here. So don't get too chopped up in this price action, which is basically also a fair value gap. I think we might just drop eventually here, then look for the setup like this, previous day low like this, or if lucky still like this, and then move down. Many probabilities at the moment, but we are reaching that SR, so hopefully it can reject that level, back to the downside, take liquidity, and then we can see if we can head towards that level. And for the stock market, the same thing happened over here. So this was a liquidity level. So this was your magnet. After going beyond the 0.5 fib into the golden pocket, breaking liquidity level, now you wanted to see a reversal or a distribution below towards the volume point of controls that I still have open. Lots of open gaps as well, but of course that won't happen today. It's a holiday. But then I go on the 1 hourly and we shorted that level here, and now the same thing is actually showing me, which is we broke this key higher low with force, and then you see this open gap. So I would like if this one can trade back into the gap next week and then move all the way down. If this is still bullish though, I do want this to hold as support, see if it can turn a little bit down and then move higher. But we are in a region of liquidity, so a reversal down would be more healthy, back towards this region, even take this low, and then eventually it can still move higher. But that's the way I'm seeing this right now. is this gap that we still have open. So we can definitely just like range a little bit before something happens. But my idea would be here, tap into that level, tap here, and then the move all the way back down lower. That is bearish eventually. So here now we want to hold this level, but as I said, the more we tap support, the weaker it gets. But you gotta take a setup. If you don't want to, that is fine, because we are still choppy, very choppy region right now, very unclean, very, yeah, it's a holiday as well. So like I said, I will place a target here and I will place an alert in, yeah, a little bit before that level. So I know that I can actually trade it once it goes down here, and previous day low. Yeah, so we either bounce in here. First target would be that one, and then volume point of control. Second move would be taking this previous day low into this fair value gap in here, which is also a probability. Taking previous day low is within a liquidity zone. Like this, if I see the setup here, move like that. And the third probability would be we tap into this naked point of control, see the setup like this here, and then we see if it can reach higher, or at first the targets that we have here to take profit. So that's my view on the current market. Altcoins, not tradable. Bitcoin, these are the probabilities. And the ES is not to trade today as well. So you only should look at Bitcoin for now. Okay, so I will finish this live stream right here. I'll keep you updated on Twitter and in my Discord. So to show you the current Discord right here. This is the Discord currently. We have the starter. I gave all the trades today, this week for free. Then we have the strategy section, which is also available for everyone. Strategy with a video strategies. And then for the novice, I have the main chat, crypto with active trades. This is for novice. The starter will get updates, but not the live trades. The novice will get all the crypto trades, will get the indices, will get Forex, but then the elite will get the actual trades with the daily live streams, live trading sessions, and the actual trades for indices, such as the ES, such as Forex, and also some commodities. And then of course we have the health and mindset channel to keep our mind and focus in good health as well. So I hope you've learned a thing or two. Now I'll end this stream, and have a great weekend, everyone.